Ariela, the last time I spoke with you, if I would have known you were going to go through all of what you've been through, we would have had a much longer conversation. You are a trooper, girl.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a
You
lot.
are a trooper. You've been through it this season. What's been your reaction watching the episodes back?
Um, wow, it's funny because like the first times that I ever like saw myself on camera, I actually don't like taking pictures, and I've always been like shy. I don't like to take pictures. Like I travel a lot. I don't have that many pictures of my travels. Like I always hated like people taking video of me. So I'm not the person that you would think would be on reality TV.
Yeah.
So at first when like I signed up for the show, I was like, it's fine. Like just won't watch it, you know, but that's impossible. So, and then you're curious, like, well, how did they edit it? How did it come out? So when I started watching myself, I was like, I think it was good because it gave me a little bit more confidence. Like, oh, that didn't look so bad,
Right.
But it's weird because we do film a lot and then it's condensed. And then it's like, you're seeing like this very like shortened version of like everything that's happened. So it's really strange. But seeing the hospital, seeing the birth, like, what? I cried. If I watch it, I cry, like it's so intense. I just remember how scared I felt.
That's so crazy you say that because it was intense watching it. I was scared for you, honestly. So talking about the birth, looking back now, you did all of that for Biniyam just to be able to be there. Was it worth it? Was it worth it?
The one thing I kept saying and people kept asking me, like, aren't you afraid to have a baby in Ethiopia? And my answer was always like, I'm afraid to have a baby. Like in the US, in Ethiopia, I'm afraid. Like, I've never had a baby before. This is like, it's a scary thing as it is. But then, I would have gotten great medical care if I had, been with my parents and everything. But I think that it's like, was it worth it? Sorry, I don't want to go off on a tangent.
No, go ahead.
Was it worth it? I think it was worth it because after, the baby's born, like having that moment where we're together and, it was like everything, any problem that we ever had before, like it didn't matter because we experienced this moment together.
Okay, well, I know you were under anesthesia, so that takes a minute to wear off. But do you remember when you woke up and realized, one, that you're alive, and two, that you have a beautiful baby boy waiting for you right there? What was going through your head?
Oh my God, it was not a wonderful moment when I just woke up because the last thing I remember is like them telling me like, we got to do this now. And I'm just like, no, because I'm not ready. Like, you can't do it if I'm not ready. And they're like, we have to. So when I woke up, I just remember thinking like, like I can feel my body, like they're going to cut me now. And I can feel it. Like, please, I tried to move, but like, you're paralyzed from the anesthesia. And I couldn't tell them, but I had already had the surgery. I didn't realize that. So thank God. And then when I woke up, honestly, I was just in so much pain that I couldn't even focus on anything else. A C-section is major abdominal surgery. It is very painful.
I want you to describe to me how you were feeling when the nurse told you that immediately we have to have a C-section. You could see that you were terrified in your face, but I just want you to describe the feeling for me if you can.
In my head, I just said, no, like, I don't,
right.
I was just like, that was like what I was kind of screaming to myself. Like, I don't know why she's saying these things to me because that's not what I know, that's not true. So I was just really in denial. And then like, it was just so, seeing Biniyam, he was so scared. Like if you see his face, he scared me worse. Like he did not make me feel very comforted.
He couldn't even hide it. He was like, I am terrified. I'm scared. He couldn't even hide it. Speaking of Biniyam, he made a statement while he was at the hospital or during the interview portion where he said that he's been taught in his culture that when women give birth, naturally, their love for the baby is stronger. So I want to know just what's your response to that?
Oh yeah, this is a conversation that we had a lot because so the baby was breech. It was like we were waiting for the baby to term. And I told him like, it's not the end of the world, I mean, I could always have a C-section, like one way or the other, the baby's gonna come, like it's gonna be fine. And he was like, no, like you can't have a C-section. You have to have the baby naturally. And I said, well, who are you? If you want to have the baby, you can have it naturally, but this is my body. So it was like a point of contention between us. And then like, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know how he could think that you would love your baby more or less, but he has a lot of like, he's a little bit superstitious. So yeah, it's something that we did argue about. And I can't, I'm surprised to even, honestly, like I'm a little bit, I know that other women are going to beat him up for that because that's such a silly thing to say.
Yeah, because when you held your baby, who is adorable, by the way, he is your twin. When you held him, you could see and feel the love you have for him. And at that point, I was like, oh, Biniyam, you're going to catch a lot of heat for saying that. So I just wanted to get your opinion on his statement.
Yeah, I think he's gonna catch a lot of heat for it, rightfully so. But sometimes we believe and say stupid things, so we're human.
Well, how is Biniyam as a dad? How has that been for you to see him in father mode?
Yeah, that was when you asked me, was it worth it? That was the reason that it was worth it, because it's great to see, like when someone sees their child for the first time, and then after that, Biniyam loves children, and of course, he loves his child so much. Mm-hmm. He's so excited to teach the baby, new, like anything. It's like it's such a hard question because it's like a feeling, but it's not something I can exactly describe. I can't really put into words like how wonderful it is to see, that we made this family together, we made the child together, and I feel like when I see him love the baby, it makes me love him more.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Do you ever think about the fact that he has another sibling somewhere in the world now? Does that cross your mind?
Yeah, it's actually something I think about a lot. I really want, like, as I got older in my life, I realized like family is really important, but not just knowing, not just your mom and dad, your brothers and your sisters, but like knowing where you came from. That's why my, Judaism became more important to me, because I wanted to know, like, why are we in America? Why did we come here? And why, how did I become this person that I am? Jewish people, they are, the religion, the culture kind of teaches you to be inquisitive, to ask a lot of questions. So knowing about like my culture kind of taught me like about myself and why I am the way that I am. So obviously I want my son to know about his culture, but the other thing is I want him to know like his place in the world, like, and that means knowing his extended family. It means knowing he has a brother, he has a brother in America, and I want him to know about his brother. And I also think, it's regardless of what has happened in the past with Biniyam or his past relationship, these kids, they don't have to be involved in that. Exactly. They can just be brothers.
Exactly. Well, speaking of Biniyam's past relationship, what was your reaction when you found out that he did have an American ex-wife? Did you think that was a bit odd, or were you just like, maybe it's his type? Like, what were your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if I think they don't go into it too much on the show in the beginning, but actually Biniyam and I, as soon as we met, and I did mention this when we spoke last time, that he immediately told me like he wants a serious life and he wants, a family and all of these things. Well, the reason he told me that, and at the same time that he told me, I'm married and I have a baby in America, and the relationship, she doesn't want me anymore, and I want to see my son. And he told me all these things, and like he was in a very bad place emotionally. And, I wasn't very happy either at the time that I met him. I was going through some things as well. So that's kind of what brought us together. So I did know about it. I thought it was kind of funny that he happened to meet me. But I think when he found out like I was American, he was like, oh, well, maybe you can help me and you can understand me, So that's kind of how that started.
Well, in a lot of cases, it seems as if you're unfairly paying the price for his previous relationship. How does it feel to carry that burden of always not wanting to disappoint him or hurt him, and then having to put your feelings aside because of his past?
It's very difficult, because I know what type of person that I am, but, Biniyam he has fear. He's traumatized from his previous experience. So it's like, even if he knows what kind of person I am, and even if he knows that, you know, I wouldn't do something like that, you know, not let him see, for example, our son. I'm sure he, you know, it's like he can't use his logical brain in that circumstance.
Yeah.
It's really affected our relationship, because there's times when I want to, you know, when you love someone and when you see them hurt or upset, you want to help them, and not being able to do anything is a very, you know, hopeless feeling.
Well, I want to talk about the fans for a bit, because as you know, they're opinionated. Some fans think you expect too much from Biniyam. What's your response to that? I don't think you do, but what's your response?
I think that, I mean, I don't want to get in too much trouble with what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it in such a way. I think that a lot of the fans who watch the show don't expect much from the men on it. But I also think that, you know, of course, like I said, you know, we film a lot, and then, you know, they have to condense it in a short period of time. So there's things that maybe are not explained as well as they could be explained. But I mean, Biniyam is great. I know he does try very hard, but I think that if people saw the amount of things that I do for him, they would demand a little bit more from him.
Yeah. No, I mean, I see them. I guess some people choose not to, but I get it, you know. I definitely feel for you at times, for sure.
And I also think, you know, it's a learning process for Biniyam, because he grew up without parents, you know,
Right.
without an example of what is a successful marriage, and we're from different cultures. There's a different expectation of what the man is supposed to do in the culture and everything. And I think that he's, in some ways, he's a very modern guy, you know. He's a guy who loves to take care of his baby and, you know, do all this stuff. And in other ways, he's very affected by, you know, a cultural way of thinking. So I think that it's a learning process for him to kind of understand what I expect from him.
Well, let's talk about your living situation for a second. Are we ever going to see you and Biniyam get comfortable in Ethiopia? What can you tease?
Yeah, someone made a joke to me that I've moved more than anyone, you know. So I think that we have to, in this issue, it's like, obviously we weren't going to live in the first place. The timeline was not working for me on the other place. I think that you will see us settle in a bit, and then, but you know, it's hard because even after you find a place, there's still the settling of like, oh, do I feel comfortable here? And like, what's my new life going to be like? So you find the apartment, you find the house, whatever. And then after that, you kind of have to make the life also.
All right. My last question before I let you go. When it comes to the rest of the season, what do we have in store? What can you tease for us?
Yeah. It's, as you've seen from the trailer, it's extremely emotional. I mean, everything that I'm going through, you know, just after just having a baby, all the emotions, all the hormones and everything. And then there's a lot of, it's like, it's so difficult to explain, because so many, to me, when I think about it, like, it's not just the season, right? It's my life. So this past year has been the craziest year of my life. If you had asked me if any of these things that you're going to see were going to happen, you know, if you said 2 years ago that this was going to be the sequence of events in your life, I would have said you're crazy. So I think a lot of it is like unbelievable that someone goes through so many things and such a roller coaster of emotions in such a short period of time.
Right. So are you saying that it's going to get more intense?
Yeah,
I know we've already seen.
I definitely would say that there's a lot more intense moments to come, and a lot of surprises, and you know, it's going to be a very emotional journey.
More emotional than what we've already dealt with.
Yeah, it's pretty emotional.
Ari, I want to give you a hug. That's a lot.
Well, I come out on the end a stronger, and actually I would like to say happier person.
Oh, well then it's worth it then, of course.
Yeah.